Hi, my name's Sara Dickinson. I'm from the Art Gallery of Hamilton, and I'm so pleased you could join us for this week's Storytime at Home. You might remember my two friends, Olive and Bean, and we're glad you could join us today. We are going to be reading a book called Willow by Denise, Brennan-Nelson, and Rosemary Brennan, illustrated by Sid Moore. And this book was published by Sleeping Bear Press. Even on the sunniest days, Miss Hawthorne's art room was cold and dark. Everything was in its place. There wasn't a single broken crayon in the bunch. The students sat in their rows, silent and still like eggs in a carton, except for Willow. Rosy-cheeked Willow twisted around in her seat to look out the window. "Face forward, young lady!" Miss Hawthorne's icy blue eyes glared at Willow. Willow shivered. Miss Hawthorne's moods were as dark as her clothing. One day in September, Miss Hawthorne handed out paper, paintbrushes, and paints. She told her students to make pictures of a tree and hung an example on the board. All the students painted trees with straight brown trunks and round green tops. Everyone except Willow. "Whoever heard of a pink tree?" Miss Hawthorne asked with a frown. "That's what I saw when I closed my eyes," said Willow. A few students giggled. Sam snorted, "Pink stinks." The next week, Willow carried her well-loved art book to school. In it was a picture of a flamingo pink tree painted by a famous artist. "Look," Willow pointed, giving Miss Hawthorne her most magical smile. Miss Hawthorne glanced at the picture, then turned away with a scowl. She muttered as Willow skipped off. In October, Miss Hawthorne passed out paper, paintbrushes, and paints. She told her students to make pictures of an apple tree and hung an example on the board. All the students painted trees with straight brown trunks, round green tops, and red apples. Everyone except Willow. Miss Hawthorne pointed with a long, bony finger. "Look at the mess you've made. And there's no such thing as a blue apple." "But that's what I saw when I closed my eyes," said Willow. Some of the students giggled. Sam laughed especially hard. "Who ever heard of a blue apple?" The next week, Willow carried her well-loved art book to school. She showed Miss Hawthorne a picture of a tree with blue apples. Then she reached into her backpack and took out a blue apple. "This is for you," she said, handing it to Miss Hawthorne. Miss Hawthorne's face turned crimson red. She muttered as Willow skipped off. Autumn flew past. Willow always seemed to be in trouble in Miss Hawthorne's class. "Stop daydreaming, Willow. You broke another crayon, Willow. Willow, put that book away." Most of all, Willow got into trouble for not painting the things the way Miss Hawthorne wanted her to. The day before winter vacation began, students brought presents for their teachers. No one brought a present for Miss Hawthorne, except for Willow. Miss Hawthorne stood at the window watching Willow and the other students board their buses. She wasn't in any hurry to leave. No one was waiting for her at home. Miss Hawthorne walked to her desk. She was surprised to see a gift. No one ever gave her gifts. "To Miss Hawthorne, my art teacher, from Willow." Miss Hawthorne slowly unwrapped the package. Nestled in a bed of tissue paper was Willow's well-loved art book. Miss Hawthorne sat holding the book for a long time. It was dark outside when she walked to the cabinet where the art supplies were kept locked away. Miss Hawthorne filled her arms with paintbrushes, paints, colored pencil, and a sketch pad, and carried them to her desk. She flipped open the sketch pad and stared down at the blank page. Finally, Miss Hawthorne picked up a colored pencil. For the first time in her life, Miss Hawthorne doodled. Outside, the wind howled. Trees creaked and strained and broke when they could not bend. Snowflakes swirled upwards. The lights flicked off. Miss Hawthorne sat in the darkness. When the lights came back on, Miss Hawthorne's fingers found the wet paint and spread it across the page. The school custodian poked his head into the classroom. He stopped, astonished at what he saw. Across town, Willow stood at her bedroom window peering at the soft, fat snowflakes through her spyglass. After a while, she climbed into bed and fell asleep wondering if Miss Hawthorne liked her present. When the students returned to school in January, everything was the same as always, except the art room. With wide eyes and open mouths, the students stood in the doorway. Willow was the first to step inside. Behind a graceful willow tree covered in paint from head to toe, a woman was painting. "Do you know where Miss Hawthorne is?" Willow asked. When the woman turned around, the students gasped. "Miss Hawthorne?" asked Willow. "Oh, I'm so glad you're here, Willow," Miss Hawthorne said. "Grab the paintbrushes. I need your help." Delighted, the students did as they were asked. This time, everyone painted just the way they wanted. Especially Willow. I hope you enjoyed our story. I love how Willow didn't want to paint like everybody else. She had her own way of painting and her own way of seeing things, and that's much more interesting. I have been playing in the kitchen with a few recipes, and I came across a recipe for making a tempera paint. This paint is a little bit thicker than the watercolor paint that we made a few weeks ago using dried up markers. So this time, you can see it's quite a bit thicker. And it's a little bit more textured as well on the paper. I'll post the recipe on our website. I use the primary colors because it's kind of fun to mix them to make more colors. So I'll show you quickly how it works. So the red, we'll just do a swipe. And the blue, it's really nice and bright and it's nice and thick as well. And it dries well. We'll have to look at it later and see the way it dries. And then we've got our yellow as well. It goes on with lots of texture. Nice and thick. And then, of course, what happens if we mix a little of the yellow and the reddish. My red is a little bit on the pinky purple side. You see the difference? And then we'll just add a little bit more yellow. And we'll wait till it dries and see how it turned out. What if I add a little bit of the blue to the yellow. Oh, let's see what happens there. What color do you see? Let's go to the Art Gallery of Hamilton and see if we can find a couple paintings where the artists really use texture and colors to create their works. We're visiting a couple paintings from our permanent collection that are on display on the second floor of the Art Gallery of Hamilton. The first is by Canadian artist Matt Bain called Camp. It was made in 2007. I chose this because of Matt's use of paint and how he created texture. Can you see all the layering? It makes you want to touch it. The second painting I want to show you is by Anishinaabe artist Norval Morrisseau called Children with Tree of Life. Now, he was best known for his vibrant and colorful paintings. And he was inspired by the Anishinaabe stories that fueled his imagination as a child living on Sandpoint Reserve in Northwest Ontario. I hope you get a chance to maybe make some of your own paints. And also, you might want to join Tyler Van Holst on Thursday for Storytime Art and see what he does with colors and paints. Thanks for joining us today, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Bye for now.